Hey everybody, today we're talking about Blue Beetle Volume 2, Blue Diamond. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent, and today we're talking about Blue Beetle Volume 2, Blue Diamond. Volume 2 as in New 52 Volume 2. Of his original series, as also the second trade paperback of that New 52 series. So you still have Tony Bedard here doing the writing, Iguata doing a lot of the art, although Keith Giffen and Marcio Takara step in here for a couple of fill-in issues. This mainly has to do with Jaime after the events of issue number 6 and Paco getting infected by the scarab, so to speak, that was trying to save his life from Jaime. Jaime runs away to New York City to try and find other superheroes and encounters some weird things. He encounters the new Guardians here with Kyle Rayner and Bleez, and there's this weird moment where the scarab registers that he's aroused when Bleez is on top of him. That's a weird moment. But hey, it's teenage comics, right? The DEO gets a hold of him here with Mr. Bones, and they kind of talk to him, and he's like, hey, I'm trying to get some help. Even New 52 Booster Gold shows up, and even he tries to dupe Blue Beetle in terms of helping him out. Meanwhile, we have another showdown with Paco in his, I'm going to call it I think it's the Blood Scarab, is that what it's called? Garb here, where it's kind of taken over him, but all that is resolved, and then we launch Jaime into space, going to Reach World, where he's kind of co-opted into trying to destroy where the scarabs are made on this planet by another scarab here. And then the scarab's original owner on Earth, this guy Sunflyer or whatever, he's like from the Mayans or Aztecs. He's also trying to hunt down Jaime and get him. It's a whole lot of like weird stuff. And honestly, it's not bad comic books. It's not terrible, but it just, again, doesn't stand up to that original run. There's no charm in here or anything like that. And ultimately, I feel like it fails a little bit because it leaves Jaime on a cliffhanger on his last issue. They're sticking Jaime into this series called Threshold, which I try to remember if I read the first couple of issues of that or not. But fear not, I did buy the stupid trade paperback on my iPad, so I will read it and review it probably while I'm on travel in the next week or two. So that is going to be a weird read because I don't think he's the main character. He's like a follow-up, but it kind of ties into the whole idea that they started when they relaunched Blue Beetle, where this Lady Styx character is holding like a tournament or something like that, and they show here in the 0 issue, because this contains 7 through 16 as well as number 0, that the Scarab had launched from Reach World and kind of pseudo-infected this Lady Styx character, awakened her latent abilities of gathering dark energy, and then fled from her as it got scared of her weird abilities. So she's kind of mad because she believes the Scarab did something to her and it made her kill her family, something like that. So, yeah. I mean, I think the more enjoyable part of this book, if you wanted to pin one down, is when Jaime's in space, because we never really got that in the original 36-issue run. We had it a little bit, but most of the time he was on Earth with his family, with Peacemaker, with Paco and Brenda and all that stuff. And it gets a little more interesting because it's something new. You know what I mean? So I feel like that is the most interesting thing about this book. The Scarab having an older Sky Witness, that's this guy. An older host, Sky Witness, this guy from the Mayan and Aztec time, being around and chasing Jaime, even though I feel like he's going to come back in Threshold. It feels like they did away with him, but it wasn't very satisfactory in a way that I'm like, you might show up again later. But this guy, Sky Witness, he doesn't really talk to Jaime. They never, even the Scarab doesn't kind of recognize him, which I find a little weird. But it's kind of a fun thing just to have another person chasing Jaime as he's kind of destroying the scarabs and all that. Another weird thing, too, is that the Reach here, seems like a lot of their guys this time around are insect-based instead of the, bipedal humanoid aliens that we had in the first 36-issue volume. So that's a little weird. Just different, I guess. You have Scott McDaniel coming in the last 2 issues here to do fill-in pencils. That's fun to see another artist do their take on Jaime Blue Beetle. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, all in all, it's not bad. I think it differentiates itself enough from the first volume. I'm talking about Metamorphosis here, that I think it improves on that a little bit, even though that was very, very mediocre. Like, this is a little bit better, but it's not good comics. It's not great comics, but it's not bad. It's okay. And it's borderline good. I think if given some more time, or if we had focused all the way through these, 8 issues about him being in space, rather than doing all the stuff with Booster Gold and Kyle Rayner and the New Guardians and Bleez, that would have been a little stronger, as opposed to feeling like some retread things. And then even at the time when you're just reading it by itself, you don't have any context for Booster Gold, New Guardians, Bleez, Kyle Rayner, all that stuff. And it does, the New 52 at this time was really weird, because some things were starting again fresh, and other things like Batman and Green Lantern were leaving everything that had happened before, and that was one of the areas that had happened before, and everything else is rebooting at the time. So that felt a little weird to be like, oh yeah, this is still in continuity kind of with the older Green Lantern books, as opposed to starting anew. That's just my mind remembering stuff. Your mileage may vary, because maybe you haven't read that stuff in ever, right? Much less it's not collected or anything like that. Good luck finding it. So Iguata, I think, is the biggest thing to come out of this book that I liked. His art here, still good, still borderline great. No really complaints there. I still think it's really strong, and I think that's the one thing I identified out of this New 52 run that I like the most. Like, the first run, you had Cully Hamner and Rafael Albuquerque, and this one you had Iguata come out, and I'm not really sure what he's doing now, though. Like, I don't remember seeing him on stuff after this. I know I've seen him a little bit here and there, but I have not been able to follow his career the way that I have been able to follow Rafael Albuquerque. He went from Blue Beetle to doing some other fill-ins, and then he did all of American Vampire with Scott Snyder, and now he's doing other things. He's doing what he wants. He's made a name for himself, and I don't really feel like Iguata has been able to do that off this book, but I think that's probably one of the reasons why, is because the book wasn't that successful. This volume only lasted 16 issues, as well as the 0 issue, so call it 17, right? So I think that's a little bit of a downside here for that particular artist. But yeah, Tony Bedard's writing is fine. It's not great. It's not horrible. But I feel like given the opportunity, he probably would have gotten a better handle on all the characters. You spend very little time with Paco and Brenda throughout these 16 issues, as opposed to the first 36 in that first run. And maybe that's why I'm feeling a certain way towards it, because he didn't spend the time, or maybe he chose not to, in order to try and differentiate himself from that original run that was so recent, by the way. That 36 issue run ended probably like a year before the New 52, like fairly shortly thereafter. So maybe he felt he had to do something different, and so wouldn't spend time with Paco and Brenda so as not to retread that same ground, even though it kind of feels like maybe I wish he did. I don't know. Because I know Tony Bedard can write good teen characters. I read his Teen Titans run shortly before the New 52, and I like that a lot. So I know he can do good teen characters. He just chooses not to do it in this volume, and I guess I'm holding it against him, 15 years later or something like that. So it's not really fair, but, it's not terrible. I will say, though, this cover is ostensibly terrible, and I'm sad to say that, because it's Freddie E. Williams III. But yeah, I wish they would have gone through with one of the Paul Renaud covers that are in the first couple issues here. I think it's stronger than this one. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on Blue Beetle Volume 2, Blue Diamond. Good luck finding it. It's been long out of print. And I think I overpaid for this one when I found it on either on a used bookstore or eBay, something like that. I think I paid a lot of money for it, because it retailed for $20, and I think I paid more than that. But now I have it. It's going on the shelf. It'll never be lost, and I can reread it whenever I want, if I want to be reminded of a mediocre Blue Beetle story. So there you go. Thanks for watching. I'll let me know of your thoughts down on this book in the comments below, and we'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.